Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation we're about to have today. We're looking at athletes and post-career, education and post-career. It's a very important subject matter. But when that topic comes to mind, Prof, to begin with you, how do you process it? What do you think about straight away when we talk about athletes and their post-career?
Wow, thank you so much. And for the opportunity to be here at this point in time. But before I answer your question, can you please give me the permission? All of us, can we please rise up and acknowledge our athletes, our hero, the reason we are here. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. We are here not because of us. We are here because of the athletes.
Right.
We are here because of the heroes. Please let's have a seat. We are here because of these people that have spent their lives, not for themselves alone, but to preach the name of their family and the country and the world. About post-career athletes, the first thing is, where are we? Some days you see yourself celebrating, they mention all the names. The babies that is unborn is mentioning the name of an athlete. Another day, it's as if the athlete is forgotten. It's not an encouraging thing. It's not a good news. But I hope this avenue will give opportunity for us to see the best way to bring them into a limelight. Athletes and their careers, it's an interesting thing to see them at the initial stage. It's an interesting thing to see them bubbling. But when we fail to put in the right thing, most especially education, we will not be able to see the potentials they have inbuilt outside sports. I want to look at them as the major reasons they are into sports is not because of them, just like the last presenter mentioned about, yes, want to get money. It's not really want to get money alone, but because of many factors. Number one is the pressure of the family, is the pressure of the friends, pressure of peers, pressure of coaches, and pressure of surviving in life. When you bring these things together, some of them, I remember carrying out a study to look at the interest of university athletes now to want to continue into sport after graduation. 60% of them says no. Then why are you into sport while you are in the university? Just to survive. The orientation is not there. They don't know what it entails. So, I think this gathering is a fundamental one to look at. While we're athletes who has once been the eye of the world, become a beggar on the street.
Right. We'll get straight into that one now. So then I'll bring Mr. Kudjoe Fianoo in. So you have been dealing with a lot of, by the virtue of your position and your job, and historically, all that you've done through football, you've dealt with several athletes throughout their careers. From your experience, at what point do you think any athlete should start thinking post-career? Is it at the start? Should you consider all of that at the start? Is it when you're at your peak? Is it when you are just on your last legs? At what point does an athlete decide when they start considering what they do?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a very interesting topic. And it's normally a sad spectacle when we see most of our stars at the end of their career struggling to survive. I'm happy to see a few faces here, especially Lion Kingston making life after his profession as a footballer. The question you ask is very, very paramount. Coming from an environment where we are giving back very little to these stars. Career guidance, trying to shape them to face the rigors of life. We only enjoy them when they are performing for us. And their career ends with whatever support we gave them. So, from hindsight, I would want to say that the very day the athlete decides to engage in sports, he must start planning for his future. There is no time to waste. There's no time to plan for the rainy day. Immediately you decide to be a sportsman, you must start it. Because as a civil servant, I'm entitled to work till 60 years. And I have the luxury of even asking for more years on contract. But a footballer, when the body is weak, that body is weak.
You are done.
You are done. There's nothing you can do. And if you're not prepared, that is where the challenge comes. And I want to say that we haven't done well, be it government, be we the administrators, because when the mind is virgin, coming to your question, when the mind is virgin, that is when the mind will take in those little bit of advice. Gentleman or lady, this is the way you prepare yourself. When you wait until he becomes a star, he's counting the bucks. At that time, the mind is on a different planet. So when you wait until he gets out, nothing goes in anymore. So at that early stage, you also have to tap into where his interest is. Because you don't have to wait until at the end of the day, he looks at the left, right, there's nothing to be done. Okay, let me veer into coaching. That is not where the heart is. He could have been a good business man. He could have been a good administrator.
Right.
He could have done something else. So we need to prepare them right from the onset that the job you are doing, let him know 35, you are packing off.
Right. But staying on that, you said the key point, they need to be prepared. But who does these preparations? Is it parents? Is it agents? Is it a sports agency somewhere that is lacking in Africa?
It should be done holistically. And here, if I want to limit myself to football administration, we must get a requisite backroom staff. Okay? Like a psychologist or a business planner who should be one of the backroom staff.
For an association or for individual players?
For instance, a club.
Right.
Or for an association. So as soon as this athlete starts performing, you tap into his mind where the interest is. So you start talking to him. You start advising him. You call an athlete that I want you to go into estate development. He knows nothing. He doesn't know the nitty-gritties of estate development. He will have the money all right. He could buy chains of properties. But because the money is not there, he may prefer to buy flashy cars. That's where the interest is. You've got to tell him that you need something that is sustainable, that can sustain you till you pack off. So we need to, when you go out there, if you check on the backroom staff of clubs, they have psychologists, they have all those things. But here, maybe due to our limited resources, we only, when you get a coach, you get a physical trainer, you think you formed a team. That is not it. And the athletes must also know that there is limitation to what I'm doing. The applaud will be so loud when you are young. But as you hit the 30s and move into the 40s, that is where, and we have this saying, life begins at 40. An athlete's life ends at 40 as an athlete. So what do you do beyond the 40 years? And I think that is why we are having this conversation.
Right.
And I'm saying that as government, as sports administrators, this is one key, because it is sad. It's a sad spectacle to see one of your budding stars, as Prof said, begging for alms. And we must also carry the blame because we have pushed them into that sad situation because we've not prepared them to face the full rigors of life.
Okay, then I come to you, Prof. I mean, with all your so much experience you've got in the physiotherapy there, for elite athletes, they go through a lot of stress, they go through a lot of, trauma while they play. How does all of that impact them post their career? Because sometimes you need to be sound, you need to be in a certain level of, you have to be healthy to a certain degree to be able to make some of these decisions. But when they've gone through that period of being a star, being everything, and all of a sudden you are not the star anymore, they are new budding stars, how do they deal with that, the post-trauma in sports?
Thank you, moderator. I just want to follow up with what the chairman said. Number one, what terminates athletes' career? There are just two major factors. The first one is age, and the second one is injury. Age can still be. You can be looking at yourself physiologically. Okay, I am 21, I'm 22, I'm 23. You are looking at 30, if God permit. But the thing is this. At what time did you know that injury was set in? You don't know.
Right.
And because you don't know, at times this injury may be as a result of probably early onset of an acute injury, the injury not well managed by the professional, and probably the professional, even the injury is not well assessed, even the club or you are playing for is not aware if you are injured. But the moment the injury sets in, this is the package I have here. Number one, there should be what we call 2A2S system.
Can you go into that a little bit?
What I mean by 2A2S system is this. There should be athlete academic support scheme. There should be athlete academic support scheme. This athlete academic support scheme, which I put as 2A2S, should be the first day an athlete is recruited into a club.
Okay.
That's a major role. Number one, these athletes must be enrolled into a school, into a program. Percentage of the money from the athletes is used for the development of athletes. The club is contributing to it. The institution is aware that this individual is an athlete of a club. The institution is aware of it. The National Association is aware of this. You are building the career of that athlete post injury or whatever happened. The club is also investing. That should be, if the system is in place, even if the athletes move from one club to another club, the system is on. You know that at the end of this, there is investment you are contributing to it. This investment, for those of us in the civil service, you say you have pension scheme. Athletes will not be planning a pension scheme for you. But as a management, I look at it as a holistic thing. The athletes is involved, the stakeholders, which is the association is involved, the club is involved, the institutions is involved, the sport directorate of high institutions are also involved, planning a program for athletes. The moment they are starting their career, they have joined a club, they have started this, the first thing is, yes, because you are this, you move into an institution and say, this institution will have these athletes. These athletes, which of the programs you want to go into of interest, he moves into that program of interest. Then part of the money is earning, you are using it to pay his school fees. Probably he has stayed with you 2 years. After 2 years, he's moving to another club. You transit it.
Right.
After 4 years, this is a graduate. Then after being a graduate, he knows that if an injury happens anytime,
he becomes a welfare
package for him.
Right.
Did we have that here? No. Did you have anywhere? This system should be in place.
But how much of this goes back to the players? Because I can imagine where a football star is earning millions of euros or pounds or dollars, whatever currency that is. Million is a lot of money. If they're earning that much, how much of this responsibility also goes back to them to say that, you know, put a chunk of your money somewhere because the unforeseen circumstances could be around the corner? Do they owe themselves that also individual responsibility of backing this?
It has to start with, just like one of the presenters mentioned, a culture in place. It is a system. When you are employed into an organization, there is the practice of that organization. You are recruited into this club. That is the practice of that club. And you know, it cuts across all the clubs, it cuts across all the sports. The moment you are there, it is a must for you to be recruited, except you don't want to be. The moment you want to be an athlete in any of your disciplines, you must ensure that you enroll into an institution. Then you know that this is secured for you. That's how I think it should be.
Right. Let me come back to you, Mr. Kudjoe Fianoo. It's and you did mention it that football class administrators associations should have, if you like, a body or an office that is open to proposing businesses to athletes while they play. Are we also lacking in this part of our world, this continent, proper sports management or sports business, you know, institutions where they can come up with proper plans and convince players or share the plans with them and then develop those plans with them? Do we lack that here, and why do we not have a lot of that here?
Yes, you are right in saying that we lack that. When we talk about the general pension, for instance, that we have for every Ghanaian, it's been covered by only one law, and that law backs the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, that when you work, you have to set aside a percentage of your salary, out of which you have to put it into a pool when you retire at the age of 60, that you can access it. And SNIT will hide behind that law, that straitjacket, and treat athletes, civil servants, public servants the same. So if I stop playing football at the age of 35, what happens to me? How do I access that fund? So it should be a collective effort that SNIT, you cannot put sportsmen in that straitjacket because they have these limitations. That is one. Now, even the ability of the club or the association to deduct what is paid to the player or the athlete and paid to SNIT. You go to some clubs or some associations, they are in arrears for months. And the flip side, the side aspect is also that the player or the athlete does not think it is necessary. At the time he's earning the bucks, it's not necessary to put anything aside for a rainy day. So, as Prof said, how do we conscientize the athletes to also know that it is in his or her own interest to set something aside? So, we need to come up with schemes where players can or athletes can roll onto them or engage themselves too. How many clubs or how many associations in Ghana have provident fund, for instance? As I'm saying, where an athlete can voluntarily put something in there so that at the end of his career he could go there. There's nothing like that. Meanwhile, the question we all ask ourselves, when these athletes stand on the podium after winning a medal or a trophy, we play the national anthem.
Yes.
And when they win, they come back successfully. You see the politician, everybody hovering around them, sharing in the euphoria.
Yes. They take the glory more
They
than the athletes.
They even take the glory more than the athletes. So what are we doing for them? These are things we think that the players themselves should also demand, that before I am registered as a player, I want to see 1, 2, 3 in my contract that will take care of me after my career. Because as I said earlier, there is more life. So if after 35 you've retired and you've been granted a grace by God to live on for 90 years, what happens to you at that time? So it should be a holistic approach. The players must also know what is good for them. As I said, all of them cannot be coaches, but some of them can be good administrators. Some of them can be good doctors. Whatever profession.
And even more recently, then I was going to come to, the career paths available for players. We could go on and on about them. As I said, not all of them could be coaches. Some of them could be, broadcasters. In more recent time, we've seen that media houses have taken, the love for employing ex-players, not even to only analyze the game, but even to host it. Yes. And they are making very good money. When you watch the Premier League TV, they've got the likes of Michael Owen on there. When you watch BT Sports in the UK, they've got Rio Ferdinand and co. That is also a path. But these athletes as well need to open themselves up to learning the craft of it. Because it's not only about knowing the sport, it's about knowing how to deliver it as well. So there's plenty of opportunities out there. But how do we, because when a player is busy and playing the football at times, I think they can be distracted. But how do we bring that focus back to them and coach them?
That is why they have agents, some call it managers. And you are not only a manager when the going is good. You become a manager, you manage when the going is tough. That is where you need to prepare your client. Because as a football agent or a manager, the footballer is your client. And you have to prepare him. It is not only where the money is coming, you get him to sign a contract, you take your percentage, bye-bye. And it doesn't end there.
It's quite rampant in this part of the world.
Yes. We only take advantage of them, and at the end of the day, we leave them to their fate. So, athletes, at the time you're even signing a contract with an agent, let him know the responsibilities. They should not only be errand boys, send my car to the workshop, do this for me, do that for me. He should also help in your career preparation. So it is something that we are talking about life.
Yeah.
And we need to attach a lot of importance to it. And the player or the athlete must also know that you also have to open up yourself for preparation. Because if because you are richer than your agent or your manager, and you think that you should rather be dictating the pace, when you get to the crossroads, you'll be left to your feet. So the players must also know what is good for them.
When I come back to you, Prof, again, we are speaking about what the players can do post their career, but credit to everybody globally, there's been a general awareness of mental well-being, right, of athletes across the globe. They struggle physically, they struggle mentally. As a physiotherapist there, but have we created an environment where athletes can be open enough to share some of these concerns, really? Because if a player is struggling mentally, the player can't process even other things. They struggle with it. And even if they are going to man their own businesses post their careers, because they are struggling with personal things that they can't discuss, it becomes a problem. Have we created a safe environment for these athletes to walk into and express themselves to people who can help them?
Thank you so much. This is another area, and that's another big area.
This should have been another panel session.
Big issue. But let me emphasize the point that athletes, before their engagement professionally, they are like unemployed person seeking for a job. They are looking for jobs, survivor. There should be a system in place, and that's why I mentioned athlete academic support scheme should be in place. When you are coming in, this is a requirement for you that you must meet. This requirement is, number one, you are going to earn ABCD. out of it, this percentage will be used for your career. Okay, you must gain admission into university. It's supposed to be one of the requirements of the agent of the club to ensure that you get into an institution and get admission for these athletes. You must make arrangement. Until we get to that stage, we will be thinking that we cannot plan for them the moment they are in. As they are coming in, the process is already in place.
But
they must follow that.
Then I come to, because you are in the university now, then I come to the point. If I'm an athlete, and now I want to speak for the athletes. If I'm an athlete and I'm like Ghana's Thomas Partey, if you're from Egypt's Mohamed Salah, I'm playing in England. And if I'm playing in England and around the same time, and Ghana has an educational system that I have to enroll in, how do I marry the two? I'm not in the country. How do I school? Do I do it over the internet? My shadows are busy. I train in the morning, I train in the evening. I play in Champions League football. Realistically, when they are playing active football, they barely have the time to do it. Have we tried to streamline a flexible program in these universities that allows these players off season while they're having their time to come home or wherever and have 2 weeks, 3 weeks course, maybe a bit more compressed, so that by the time their careers are done, they have that in there. But if they're going to school like the KNUST students and Winneba students in here, probably impossible, isn't it? Has the university done that?
It's not impossible. The point is this: before Salah moved there,
yes,
he was here. Has he been a role when he was playing in a club in Egypt? Has he been a role into an institution? He was playing for a club before moving. The moment he's recruited into that club, he should move into an institution. Then as he's moving, there is a transition. He has stayed 2 years in this university. Because he's moving to a club in Europe, the club is aware that he's in this, then he's also transit into another institution over there. He finished it. Then the point is this: because we are interested in selling them, but not interested in developing them. We must take interest in developing these athletes along with their career. Yes, you walk into an institution, if the GFA, if the National Sport Authorities work with the institutions, there is a program that is designed and accredited for them. These are the programs they are enrolled into. Then when this is a program designed for athletes. Then when are they coming in? There are programs for distant learning. Why do they make it distant learning? For some set of people. But these are athletes, you have a program for them. At that point in time, when it could be 5 years, it could be 6 years, yes. When they are moving, they transit to any other club they are into. It becomes part of their investment for them. And they go along with it. If injury occurs anytime, if there is active career termination, they know they move into this and continue with their lives.
Right.
That's what I see. Then, coming into mental, the fundamental for mental issue is multifaceted in nature. You have to look at, number one, the family issue. You want to look at your career issue. You want to look at your social issue. You want to look at your emotional issue. You want to look at the possibility of social relating with people.
Do we have a safe haven for these athletes to walk into when they face these problems that you've just tapped in?
Each club should have at least a psychology and a counselor. It should be a requirement. They work together to make sure that you are taking the responsibility of this child. Listen, no athlete will open up to you if they know that you don't have the integrity. If they cannot trust you, they won't open up to you. But if they have somebody that they can trust in the club, they open up to them. The athletes have the urge to open up. But who are they opening up to? Somebody that's just interested in selling them? They also know that if this person is taking my money, he's not going to consider me. But if we have people that have integrity, probably like you discussed yesterday, and these people are there for them, they will open up to them and they will be able to solve the issue of mental health.
Great stuff. All right, come back to you, Mr. Okay.
Yeah, just to add up to what Prof said, things are easier now than we were having in the past. He talked about distant learning. From every misfortune, there could be blessings. COVID had come and gone, but it's left some good things behind. That now you can sit in the comfort of your home and do whatever you want to do, provided you have a tablet, or even your smartphone can do a lot for you. So I think this is a time we need to get athletes to understand that you can make use of the few minutes at your disposal to add value to yourself, to veer into other things, to make life easier for you after your career. So I don't think that should be a hindrance. They have, yes, you can go to training, but there are times you can slot in these things to make life better for yourself. So things are easier now.
Right. I wanted to ask, we've spoken about, in fact, very important points on how athletes then can plan for their lives post-football. And I wanted to again ask if we are creating an environment where there's a ready market for these athletes when they are done playing, especially those who want to remain in football, those who want to go into coaching, those who want to be agents. In Africa, do we have a ready market for it?
Oh, yes. Football clubs are, if I want to limit myself to football clubs are springing up by the day. Every businessman.
But can they pay these coaches when they turn elite? I mean, if Coach Laia Kingston does his badges to the highest level and it turns up in Africa, can they pay them well enough? And these are factual issues. Coaches,
I agree with you, but what is more important is that you get your certificate first, and those other things shall follow. If you don't have the certificates, then that is where you'll be wondering about. Let
me play the devil's advocate then. How about I get the certificate, but I'm not confident in getting it because I know in the end there isn't a ready market. I'm just saying, I'm not saying people shouldn't get it, don't get me wrong. I'm just flipping it to the other side, because even in the universities, you would agree that you go to school, you're selecting some courses, people will tell you there is no job for it, so choose this course because there's a ready market for it. Now, if I'm an athlete and I'm coming to work in Africa,
Sitsofe, there is no ready market anywhere. It depends on your ability,
right,
and the desire to do something. Okay. Quite recently, I heard of a coach who reported his club to the association. Okay. That coach didn't specifically ask for unpaid salaries. He asked for unpaid social security contributions. Because as for the salaries, it could come handy and go. But that he was more interested in his social security payment than anything else. Good coaches are being paid very well. And we also have the bad ones that are not paid very well. But in the ideal situation, you need to start from somewhere. Everybody wants to, the icing on the cake for every Ghanaian coach will want to coach the Black Stars. But you need to start from somewhere. So we need to encourage them. Let's encourage them. Get the badges. And they are aware. In their studies, they know that as a coach, you are described a journeyman. Why are you a journeyman?
You keep bouncing off.
You keep bouncing off.
Several places.
Today, in the morning, you hear that a coach had been relieved of his job. By 6 o'clock, you hear that he's been picked by another coach. So if you know that these are the rudiments of your job, you are going to be a journeyman. Today you are here, tomorrow you are there. You prepare yourself psychologically for it.
Right. Okay. I want to flip the similar question. It's a similar question to what I just asked, and any of you could take it, Prof or Mr. Fianoo. So, typical example. We are in Ghana, so I'll use Ghana Premier League as an example. We've got 18 football clubs. I'm not too sure how many of them have got psychologists. I'm not too sure how many of them have got qualified, certified personnel who are into sports medicine. I'm not sure how many of them have got proper physical trainers who have got the certificate. Now, if we've got 18 Premier League clubs, if you multiply that, if every club is taking minimum 2, that is the job. If you've got 2 of all these disciplines I've mentioned, that is the job. When you look at the backroom staffs of these Premier League clubs, it's very thin. Not many of them even have sports analysts and what have you. So when I speak about the market maybe not being there, it's probably because even the clubs, or there's no real pressure on these clubs to make sure that these positions are filled, so that when they're out there,
we moved.
Maybe I should come in.
Okay. We moved a step further. Now that we are doing the club licensing, it is mandatory on clubs to get certain level of personnel, video analysts, psychologists, those who have the means. You would even need a dietitian, and a coach would demand some of these positions before he will even take up a job. The crux of the matter is that we need to prepare coaches or our ex-staffs who want to go into coaching to know that to be a successful coach, these are the backroom staff you require to make you successful, and ask for it. They shouldn't be the coach that will ask for 30 footballs, knowing very well that ideally each player must have a football to himself. And the chairman will tell you, what are you going to do with the 20 or 30 football? He cannot explain. Okay, I can give you 5, and he accepts it. So, ideally, every club, when you are playing professional football, Division 1, Premier Division, you must have these backroom staffs to help these coaches to perform creditably.
Right, Prof, I think
thank you. Let me bring in this way. Chair, are we actually professional as into sports?
We are supposed to be, aren't we? But are we?
I'm not talking about professional league. I am not actually talking about professional league. Or the criteria, Chair, that you put out now, they are laudable. Are we implementing these things? I can say categorically that if we are actually implementing it and we are monitoring the implementation, yes, clubs will move from where it is to where we want it to be. I'm aware that some years back, as a club that came to us in the university there, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and asked for consultation, this and this, and sorry to use that word, I asked a question, did you want to go professional? Oh, the young man said, oh, Prof, this question you asked, I can't answer it, or I'll come and give you answer. I'll be expecting him tomorrow. What I'm saying in essence is that it is not just for us to say we want to go professional. We must do what a professional club entails. The club licensing, it is good. Accreditation expected, it is good. You had the manpower will be there. You'll be able to create market. In my school, we produce graduate of sports management. We produce graduate of sport and exercise therapies. Yes, we produce graduate of physiotherapies. Yep. With other schools also producing. This will be available market for them. Then athletes that goes into such programs, there will be market for them. It is expected of the sport organization, it's expected of the government to ensure that the right thing is put there. Listen, sport is money, it's business. It should invest into it and get the reward. If we are not determinedly investing into it, we will still be talking grammar. And which is the truth. We should implement it and do it the way it should be done, so that we will not put a local club is playing, a foreign club is playing. I'll be very excited to watch a foreign club with paying my money using the same platform and leave the local club here, because it's not exciting. We must invest therein, and investing therein is not the responsibility of one person.
Right.
It is responsibility of all stakeholders involved and get it done.
Right. We'll be wrapping up this session very soon, because the next one is just about to also start in a couple of minutes. But gentlemen, I'll take your final words in summary for advice to all athletes, or your final talks to all athletes while they play the game and they prepare for post-career. I'll start with you, Mr. Kudjoe Fianoo.
I will want to say that they should make hay while the sun shines, because when you are out, when the applaud is not loudest, nobody even recognizes you. You may go to, when you are a star, all doors are open to you. You can enter into any office and ask for favors. But as soon as you bow out, you also join the queue with those who want to see the people in authority. So I will advise that they should open their ears, their eyes, whilst they're in active service, so that they prepare themselves very well so that they can face the world when they bow out from whatever professions they've chosen for themselves. It is not limited to footballers alone.
Yeah.
We've had boxers.
All athletes.
All athletes. All sportsmen. They should prepare very well. Make sure that they listen to advice. Invest wisely in areas where they have their strength, not in areas that they have weaknesses, because they may start something laudable which will not be sustainable.
Right. Prof, your final words.
My final word will be for us to put a system in place that will make athletes enjoy during active days, and when they go into the post-retirement or post-active era, they're going to have a premium to rely on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my panel. Mr. Kudjoe Fianoo and the professor there. He's all the way from KNUST, and he is the HOD of the Physiotherapy and Sports Science, KNUST, Mr. Moses, Professor Moses Monday. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Please give it up for them.